It all started with one simple sentence. The kind of phrase you hear in thousands of relationships, echoing like a broken record across kitchens, bedrooms, and therapist couches. Come on, he's just a friend. If only I had listened to what wasn't being said, the way her voice tilted upward at the end, the slight pause before the word, just like she had to convince herself before she tried to convince me. But back then, I didn't see it. Or maybe I refused to. We had been married for 7 years. Not a perfect marriage, but a strong one, or so I thought. We had our rituals: Friday night pizza, Sunday morning walks, silly arguments over what color to paint the kitchen. We had history, shared debt, inside jokes, quiet routines. And more than anything, I thought we had trust. I worked in architecture. Long hours, tight deadlines, multiple sites in development. She was a nurse, a damn good one. Empathetic, sharp, constantly praised by her colleagues. Our lives were busy, sure, but we always found our way back to each other. Or at least, I thought we did. The first time I noticed something strange, it wasn't a red flag, just a flicker. She came home late, not unusual in her line of work, but this time, she was different. Her cheeks were flushed. Her hair looked freshly brushed. She had that dazed, floaty kind of energy, like someone who had been in a different world. Rough shift? I asked casually. Yeah, she replied. Code blue. Long night. Then she disappeared into the shower with her phone. That was the first time I felt it. That sick, hollow weight in my chest. That quiet voice in the back of your mind that whispers, something's wrong. You're not imagining this. But I ignored it. Because we don't want to believe that the person we love, the one we build a home with, dream with, fight for, could betray us. It's easier to lie to yourself than confront the idea that the life you built might be crumbling behind your back. Over the next few weeks, things shifted, slowly, subtly, but undeniably. She started getting more extra shifts. Her phone became an extension of her body, never left on the table, never unlocked. She would text with her back to me. She started wearing perfume on workdays, even though she said she hated when patients commented on it. And worst of all, she started smiling at her screen more than she smiled at me. I asked once, gently, cautiously, "Everything okay between us?" She blinked, surprised. Then smiled too fast, too bright. "Of course. You're just being paranoid. You're working too much." And that was it. Conversation closed. Suspicion deflected. And I, like an idiot, backed off. But deep down, something had already cracked. I started looking over my shoulder in our own home. I started counting the hours she was gone. I noticed how she said we're short-staffed one too many times. And when I finally gathered the courage to ask who exactly this Alex was, the name that kept popping up on her phone, she rolled her eyes and said it. He's just a friend. Honestly, stop overthinking everything. It was meant to be a reassurance. But it sounded like a dare. There's a moment in every betrayed partner's story, that 1 second where the illusion shatters. For me, it wasn't a love letter or lipstick on a collar. It wasn't even a photo or a late-night call. It was a small, violet box. I came home early that day. Construction was delayed, and I thought I'd surprise her with lunch, something simple, just Thai takeout and her favorite green tea. I stepped inside quietly, like I always did when I knew she might be napping after a night shift. But she wasn't sleeping. She was in the bedroom, sitting cross-legged on the bed, phone in one hand, and something wrapped in shiny tissue paper in the other. She didn't hear me come in. Didn't even glance up. I froze in the hallway. The bedroom door was ajar, just enough for me to see her open the box and pull out something small. At first, I thought it was jewelry. A necklace maybe. But then I saw her face. That expression. That private, giddy, flushed expression you never expect to see your wife wear while holding something that clearly wasn't meant for you. And that's when I saw what it really was. A vibrator. Wrapped in a note. She giggled as she read it. To keep you company until I'm back inside you. Hey. I felt my entire body go cold. It was like time stopped. Like the walls closed in, and I was watching my life from outside my own skin. I didn't storm in. I didn't scream. I walked out. Silently. Carefully. Like if I made a sound, the fragile pieces of my reality would collapse before I could understand what just happened. I sat in my car for over an hour, staring into nothing. It wasn't just the betrayal. It was the calmness on her face. The way she smiled while holding something so intimate, so personal, and so deliberately not meant for me. That was when I knew this wasn't an accident. This wasn't a moment of weakness. This was something ongoing. That night, I didn't confront her. I needed more than a gut feeling. I needed proof. So while she showered, I did the one thing I never thought I would. I checked her phone. She had changed the password, again, but I knew her habits. I tried her birthday. No. Then our anniversary. Then, his birthday. The one I saw on her work calendar. Alex. Unlocked. What I found inside wasn't just a few flirtatious messages. It was an entire second life. Photos. Voice notes. Videos. One of them, dated 2 weeks prior, was shot in a hospital break room. Her, sitting on his lap, moaning as he whispered things into her neck. She was wearing her scrubs. She had just told me she'd worked a double. I watched the whole thing in silent horror. And then, I sent the video to myself, along with every screenshot I could gather. I didn't confront her that night. No, I started planning. Because if she wanted to lie in silence, I would make sure the truth screened. I didn't sleep that night. I lay next to her, listening to the soft rhythm of her breathing, wondering how she could sleep so peacefully while mine was torn to pieces. Every rise and fall of her chest felt like a countdown, not to an explosion, but to something colder, something surgical. The next morning, I woke up early. Earlier than usual. She was still curled up in the blankets, unaware. I looked at her face, not with love, not with hate, but with the silent curiosity you give a stranger who once meant something. How long had she been lying to me? How many times had she smiled at me and thought of him? I got out of bed, showered, dressed. I kissed her forehead one last time and told her I'd be home late. That part, at least, wasn't a lie. Because by nightfall, her world was going to look very, very different. I started with a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, a cold, calculating divorce strategist who had a reputation for flipping tables and taking names. I showed her everything. The screenshots, the videos, the timeline, the message with the gift. She nodded. No judgment. Just precision. You'll want to play it smart, she said. Document. Gather. Don't tip your hand too soon. I spent the next week in the shadows of my own life. I mirrored her behavior, the fake smiles, the forced laughter, the "I'm just tired" excuses. All while building a case behind her back. I pulled phone records. Checked our shared bank account. Turns out, she was using our money, my money, to buy him gifts. One of them? A leather watch worth $600. She gave it to him the day after our anniversary. That broke something in me I didn't even know was still intact. And yet, I kept quiet. Because this wasn't about screaming or slamming doors. This was about exposure. She wanted silence. I would give her something louder than betrayal truth, played on a megaphone. The final move came when I discovered she had recommended Alex him for a promotion at the hospital. She vouched for his professionalism in front of their boss. The same boss who, coincidentally, had a zero-tolerance policy on interstaff relationships. Especially those conducted in patient areas. Guess where their little video was filmed? That was all I needed. I uploaded a copy of the file to a private drive. And then, I scheduled an email. To her. To HR. To her boss. To him. Delivery set. Friday. Noon. Right after morning rounds. That night, she kissed me goodbye and said, "You're being so sweet lately. I'm glad we're getting back on track." I just smiled. Because she had no idea that the track ended at a cliff. Friday came like any other day. But I wasn't the same man anymore. While she rushed out the door in her neatly pressed scrubs, hair tied just so, phone clutched in hand, likely texting him, I simply stood at the window, sipping coffee. Watching her walk away, I felt nothing. No sadness. No fury. Just a chilling calm, like a storm that already passed but left everything soaked. At 11:59 a.m., I checked the email scheduler. 1 minute to go. In just 60 seconds, the files, the videos, the screenshots, the bank records, the transcript of the note from the box would land in the inboxes of 4 people. Her. Her boss. The hospital HR. And Alex, her friend. The timer ticked down. And then, sent. There was no dramatic music. No lightning. Just silence. A quiet that held power. Because I knew, by the time she looked at her phone again, her entire double life would begin to implode. I waited. Not at home. I took the day off. I drove to a quiet lake outside the city and sat by the water, phone off, just listening to the wind ripple across the surface. It was peaceful. Therapeutic, even. And then, around 1:20 p.m., I turned my phone back on. 23 missed calls. 6 from her dot. 3 from an unknown number dot. 4 from Alex's number, now renamed in my contacts to simply coward. And the rest? Voicemails I never intended to listen to. But the texts were impossible to ignore. Her, what did you do? Her, why are you trying to destroy me? Her, please call me. I can explain dot. Her, I never meant for this to happen dot. Her, you're going to ruin my life. Please. I stared at them blankly. She never once said she was sorry, only that she got caught. By 3 p.m., her HR department had already launched a formal review dot. By 5 p.m., she was suspended pending investigation dot. Alex. Fired on the spot. Apparently, that wasn't his first offense, just the first time there was evidence. That evening, she stormed into the house. Her mascara was smeared, her hands shaking, her words coming out in broken gasps. Why would you do this to me? To her. She still couldn't see that she had done this to us. I didn't yell. I didn't raise a hand. I didn't even flinch. I simply placed the divorce papers on the kitchen counter. Because you made your choice, I said. Now I'm making mine. She looked like she might collapse. But I wasn't going to catch her this time. The weeks after her meltdown were surreal. At first, she fought, cried, begged, left notes on my windshield, voicemails at 3 a.m. Then came the bargaining. She claimed she'd made a mistake, that it didn't mean anything, that she was broken, and I was the only one who had ever made her feel whole. She didn't know that I had already signed the divorce papers. Didn't know I had already found a new apartment. Didn't know that, every time she left a voicemail, I was already building something new, something that had nothing to do with her. I moved into a smaller place. Quieter. Sunlight hit the windows just right in the mornings, and for the first time in years, I woke up without anxiety clawing at my chest. I started running again dot. I reconnected with old friends dot. I took long drives with no destination. Just movement, forward. Her messages kept coming for a while. Can we just talk? I miss us. You're still my best friend. I love you. But the truth? She didn't love me. She loved the comfort dot. She loved having a man who forgave without question, who trusted without hesitation. That man no longer existed. 6 months later, I saw her at a cafe downtown. She looked different. Smaller, somehow dot. Her smile faded when she saw me with someone new. A woman who laughed from the gut. Who asked about my day. Who didn't hide her phone or make excuses. My ex approached, I searching for something, maybe recognition, maybe regret. Hi, she said, voice trembling. You look good. I smiled. Genuinely. I feel good. She blinked, unsure of what to say next. Do you ever think about us? I didn't even pause. No. And with that, I turned and walked away, not angry, not triumphant, just free. Because some endings aren't loud dot. They don't come with screaming or tears. They come with peace. With a deep breath and a door that stays shut, not out of hate, but out of healing. She lost the man who would have done anything for her. And I found the man who finally chose himself.